Hi everyone! Today we're gonna make this bread, which is a sourdough bread at home without equipment at all. Let's see the ingredients, so let's start the video right now. You just want to do 4 bread exactly of 700 grams each, totally by hand. But to start this recipe, you will need 550 grams of sourdough. So to make this one, it's gonna be 50 grams of starter, 250 grams of flour, white flour, and 250 grams of water, maybe 25-degree water. I mixed it last night and I left it all night at room temperature, and this morning is ready. So now we're gonna mix the ingredients. We need white flour. For me, I use basic one I bought in the supermarket, just white flour in general. We're gonna use some wholemeal flour, wholemeal from the wheat grain for extra fibers. So for the equipment, like I said, we don't need nothing, but you need a container at least. Me, I use this, which is a plastic container for food. The only thing you really need is a scale, but you should have a scale. Everybody have a scale in general. To make this bread, we're gonna start with the fermentation. That means we're gonna mix together those flour, this sourdough, and some water. Now we're still in winter, and like I explained also in the previous video, the temperature inside is quite fresh, okay? So I'm gonna put some warm water because my flour is at room temperature, my sourdough was at room temperature all night. It's quite fresh, maybe 20 degrees. Yeah, 19 degrees. So I want my dough to be at 25 degrees, 24 degrees Celsius, of course. So I'm gonna put some warm water. I'm gonna try to have like 30-degree water. So if you have a thermometer, it's much better. If you don't have, well, just try to take some water. If it burns, it's too warm. You will need 1,120 grams of white flour, 125 grams of wholemeal flour, 850 grams of warm water. If it's winter, if it's summer, put cold water. And finally, you will need 26 grams of salt. So now you have all the ingredients, and we're gonna start with mixing everything. I'm gonna start to put the water. So first I tar my container. Here is my water. As you can see, 34 degrees almost. So I'm gonna put my 850 grams in here. Then you can put the whole sourdough in the container. This sourdough is very smelly. So one thing very important, I just put the whole sourdough I needed, and you see inside there's still a little bit of leftover. So this, you're gonna scrap it and you're gonna refresh it for your next sourdough. Don't clean it without refreshing. If you clean it, shit. Then unless you already have some sourdough in your fridge or somewhere else, it's alright. Otherwise, if you forget, you're gonna be fucked up for the next recipe, and you don't want. I put 125 grams of wholemeal flour. Voila, super. 1 kilo 120 of white flour. So if you want to use other type of flour, you're free to do it. But then maybe you need to adjust your recipe because it's not going to be the same exactly. And separately, you're going to weigh the salt for later. So I said 26. Me, I'm going to put 18. Finish. We don't need a scale anymore. And now you're just going to mix all this thing together very well. Be careful when mixing, because if you don't mix enough, then you might have some big lump of flour, and this is going to be very annoying after. So make sure you go with your spoon everywhere. So you see it takes pretty much 1-2 minutes, and 3 minutes maximum. And mix very well. So it might be a little bit hard. I think this is more than enough. We don't have a mixer. If I wanted to mix by hand, I can't. Everything break. You take it, it break. But it's impossible, it just break. I mean, it's possible, but it's gonna take ages. So now I suggest you to clean this spoon or whatever you used straight, because if you wait, it's gonna dry and it's gonna be very annoying to clean. Anyway, now we just mixed. You see? Flour, water, sourdough. Just the time to make a proper dough. My temperature is 26 degrees. Because we can't mix by hand, because we don't want to mix by hand, we're just gonna let it rest 40 minutes. You cover your container, you see it's 26 degrees. We want to keep it at this temperature, more or less. If it's cold in your house, if it's too warm in your house, the dough is gonna also change. Me, it's 19. If I leave it here for the whole time we're gonna leave it, slowly it's gonna cool down. I don't want this. Just put it in a place where it's not gonna be too much influenced by the room temperature. So me, generally, I'll use just this bag, so isolation inside. I put it here. I close it. And I leave it. The salt is here, okay? We will put it later. 41 minutes. Put it here. See you there. So it's been 40 minutes. First thing I do in general, I just clean all around. So for this, I use my scraper. It's better if you have a scraper. Put some water and I just scrap. You remember just before I did with this with the finger and it was just broke. And now you can stretch it. Look, you see? So of course it breaks still, but you can stretch it. It's 24, so we lost 1 degree, 0.8. And now I'm just gonna stretch and fold this dough. We're just gonna do it together. To make it a little bit better, more efficient, I scrap under also in general. So like this, each side. Et voila. You stretch and you fold. Stretch, fold. Stretch and fold. This dough is a little bit soft, maybe yours, if you put less water than mine, it's gonna be a little bit harder, so easier. And now I just stop the stretch and fold because it starts to break on the top. That's the time now where we're gonna spread the salt everywhere on top of your dough. And we're gonna let it rest 40 minutes again. And the salt is gonna start melting a little bit inside the dough. So once you give your stretch and fold, you just put your salt everywhere. And that's all. First, we scrap all around. We scrap a little bit under also with a scraper and water. Then we gave the stretch and fold. And once it's done, you just spread the salt on the top. And if I look at my dough already, I can see the salt is kind of melting. Once this is done, you close your container and you put it back where you put just before for another 40 minutes. Now it's been another 40 minutes. We're gonna do the same, another stretch and fold. I'm gonna clean the side. And stretch and fold. So this time we're gonna try to give a few stretch and fold, a little bit like a mixing, because we have the salt and we want to spread the salt everywhere. So it's all right if it cracks a little bit. You see the dough? It's quite all right. Huh? We're not gonna knead by hand too much. We just want to spread the salt evenly in the dough. So now we're gonna leave it 40 extra minutes. Then we will give another stretch and fold. It's just a long process, but it's easy to do. See you in 40 minutes. So, this is our third stretch and fold. It's the time where it's gonna be at your appreciation. What I mean by that is that we're gonna give the stretch and fold, and you have to judge if your dough has enough strength, if your dough has proved enough. You should feel it. I can tell that my dough double up in size. When you do the stretch and fold like now, you have to feel the strength already. You have to feel that you can stretch it and it comes back a little bit, the elasticity. I have some already, and my dough is quite smooth on the top. I'm gonna let it another 40 minutes outside, just to let it prove even more, gain a little bit more strength. Give another stretch and fold, so it's gonna be 4. You see there's the bubble here. The dough is quite smooth. You can tell it has a little bit of strength, but you have to be really careful with what you're doing, and you have to judge the dough all the time. Make sure everything is all right, like the temperature, the texture, the touching the dough. Don't forget, I forgot the seeds. So because I forgot the seeds, I should have put them just before on the stretch and fold. But it's all right because I'm gonna give another stretch and fold, okay? I'm gonna put pumpa, this one. I forgot the name in English. And linseed. In general, you put 10% of the weight of the dough. So you just put your seeds everywhere. You see, everything is in there. I'm just gonna give a quick stretch and fold to put some seed at least under and a little bit inside. (23.6), so it's still fine. Another 40 minutes and then stretch and fold, and after that it will go in the fridge until tomorrow morning. The 40 last minute of my dough. The dough is very good, very smooth. And now let's do the last stretch and fold. I water my hands, it will be much easier. I'll try to grab the seeds. Yeah, the dough is really nice. Look at this beautiful dough. See? Perfect. You can see the bubble. The seeds are pretty much everywhere. Tomorrow morning I will just take out this, divide, shape, put in a form, final proofing, and I will bake. Now this goes in the fridge. So just like that, and see you tomorrow. So we are tomorrow, the next day. But first, what we're gonna do is choose the type of form we wanna use. Me, I'm gonna use the metal form because that's what I have. You can have some baskets also where you're gonna put your dough inside and then flip it into your oven later. Plastic form, plastic baskets. Me, it's gonna be metal form. And for this, I'm gonna spray them with oil just to avoid that the dough is gonna stick after baking and stay stuck in the form. So here they are. I have four of these forms. I bought them on AliExpress. It's been 3 years, still use them every week. They're very good. Oil spray, you see. So now it's time to divide the dough. So you need your scale, you need a cutter. It can be metal one, plastic one. I use the plastic one, my favorite. A little bit of flour also to put here, because yes, I'm gonna work on this and I'm gonna divide. So what's dividing? Dividing, it's gonna be the process just to cut the dough into pieces the way you want. For this one, I said we have 4 bread of pretty much 700 grams. If you wanna do a 2.8 kilo bread, it's your choice. You can do whatever you want. So here, nothing complicated really. Turn on my scale and you have to just to divide. So you cut the dough. I guess this one is 650 grams. 649. I don't know if you see. I'll show you. I call it skills. So I add a little bit extra. I cut another one. 690. Then the third one, 670. So the last one, it must be a little bit heavier. Oh, 700. So I have 4. I don't need the scale anymore. So now, once you divide your dough, we have to round each dough, make a beautiful round. It's gonna give a little bit extra strength, degas a little bit the dough, and we're gonna allow the dough to have another 20-minute, 30-minute rest. Because if we shape the bread straight like this, we have every type of shape. It's gonna be difficult. Also, rounding will make it much easier to form the bread into the desired shaping. So we're gonna do this pre-shaping in a round shape. It's quite simple. Basically, you just put your dough, and you can do it with one hand even if you want. I put it here. This is the pre-shaping. Now we're gonna give it a 20-minute rest, just to allow the gluten to relax a little bit. Also, the pre-shaping, you can do other type. If you were gonna do, for example, a baguette, so a long one, you don't really need to make a round. You can make something more oval. So same process you're gonna bring under to make it tighter. I want to remind you that we are making bread without kneading. We don't use a mixer and we didn't knead the dough by hand. So obviously the dough is gonna have a little bit a lack of strength. This is normal. This is how we make bread easily without kneading for like half an hour manually. Expect your bread not to be too strong. And I can see my bread, in general, it would stay very round, you know, and it wouldn't break so easily. it's absolutely normal. So don't worry, it's gonna be a nice bread anyway. So now we leave it for 20 minutes. I'm just gonna cover it. I personally use a plastic sheet like this and put it on top. It's gonna be a little bit sticky. I prefer this because if the ambient air of your house is very dry, your dough is gonna get dry and you will see it's gonna be very annoying. With the plastic, it keeps the moisture. Maybe you can hear the swans flying. So 20 minutes like this, and then we're gonna shape our bread into that form. See you in 20 minutes. So first, you take out the cover. It's a little bit sticky actually, but not too much. And I'm gonna do the 4 same loaves, okay? So same as the first one, okay? Middle, left, right, left, right, left to the middle, right corner to the middle, center. You fold here. In general, you can fold again, like I said, and finish it. But I remind you that we didn't. Actually, I did something else. We're gonna do the school way in a fast way to show you how it is. Fold here. So now we finish to shape our dough. I will make a video exclusively about shaping, so you will see every type of shaping. At least you saw the rounding, the pre-shaping. Now we put the whole breads, do the final proofing. You see the dough now is pretty much half. We want it to be like almost on the top, pretty much, before putting in the oven. You have a few techniques. The best I would say is to put inside your oven. You don't turn on your oven, of course. You just put inside and you just put a bowl with boiled water inside. It's gonna bring humidity and heat. And after 1 hour, 2 hours, it should be at the right size. You can use this type of thing that I have also. In general, it's gonna take 1 hour to 2 hours to get the size that we want. If you're a professional, you have a prover and you push the button and everything is fine. But we don't have anything. So we do like this. You have to check every 40 minutes, I would say. And the more I get close, the more you check. Don't forget to preheat your oven. 230 degrees. Don't forget to preheat before it gets ready. Use a bowl or something to put the steam in your oven. So think about it before. I said I use this. I bought it €1 in a second-hand shop. It's made of metal. I put some water when I put the bread. It makes some steam and we have a cool and nice bread. Let's go for final proofing and yeah, see you. So it's been a few hours now, maybe 2 to 3 hours. I took out the bread. I'm gonna show you in a second how it is there. But I put my oven to preheat, like I told you. Top and bottom, 230 degrees. So the bread is not completely on the top. I want it to be a little bit more like 1 centimeter. I don't really have that much time now. I have things to do. I put it in the oven anyway. But there's still one important thing to do just before putting in the oven. It's to score the bread. So I'm gonna score it. Then I will open the oven, put all this bread inside and put some water for the steam inside the oven. So let's score the bread. So for this, I use this type of blade, which is a blade for shaving bread for men, maybe women. I don't recommend you to use it because you can cut yourself. I'm just gonna do one line like this. Try to do quite deep, but not too deep. Not like 1 centimeter, but more like 2 millimeters. If you have a spray, put some water inside and spray a little bit just before putting in the oven. Me, I'm gonna just pour a little bit of water and with my finger, I'm just gonna touch like this because I let it outside for like 20 minutes. So now the top is dry and I want it to be more humid, just before the oven. Don't push too much when you do this, because if you push too much, there's some chance that the dough is gonna collapse. Your dough is very soft also, like mine. And now it's time to put in the oven. So at this time, you need to be very fast. One bread. Two bread. Another one. And the water. So now I have my bread inside. I let it for 25 minutes. 25 minutes. I take out the form, put them back, and then at this time I just put the heat from the bottom, simply because in general it's going to be baked more on the top than on the bottom, and I want it to be baked on the bottom, of course. So if you leave it like this for 35 minutes, you're going to have a very dark bread on the top and white on the bottom. So I won't film when I'm going to do this because, well, it's not very interesting. And it should be ready, so we will see the result together very soon. So I think it's gonna be enough for the baking. Or it could be even maybe 5 minutes more, but yeah, it should be alright. So the bread is slightly white, so you can bake it longer for sure. So we have a super nice bread. The smell is absolutely lovely. A little bit white here on the side. Under is alright. On this side is alright. This side is alright. It's just, yeah, here. This bread open up here in the middle. Those two didn't, and I took out another one over there just before. So just this one opened up properly, but it's not too much of a big deal. It doesn't change much. It's just more pretty and slightly bigger also. But I mean, it's totally all right. And one thing I forgot to mention is my sourdough, I made it with some rye flour. So it's 250 grams of rye flour in the recipe. So my bread is a little bit more compact, but look, it's totally all right. I mean, I like the bread when it's dense like this. You can still see some holes and it's quite dense. It's perfect for to put some butter on the top and anything you want. I'm quite happy. So you see, you can make bread at home without equipment. It's totally doable, very, very easy. It doesn't ask you so much time. The only thing is when you're gonna make bread without kneading the dough, without having proper equipment, it's just gonna make a bread slightly uglier, I would say, that it should be. What matters here is the flavors, the taste, and the nutrients inside. So we have really a product of super quality. So this is not the problem. You can see the seeds also, of course, because there was linseed and pumpa seeds. It's gonna be very difficult to have something regular, something beautiful without needing a dough. And you'll see it's really delicious. So I hope you enjoy this recipe, you enjoy your bread, and see you in the next one. Ciao.